Hey guys, it's Christy and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we have an all new speed review. So before we get into it, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and let's get into it. Alright guys, so I feel like in the month of March I tried such a random mashup of products. I definitely purchased a lot of makeup in March. There was a couple of things I wanted to review. It was also my birthday, so I went shopping for that. So let's just jump right into this random mashup of products. First, let's talk about an eyeliner. This is the Makeup by Mario Master Pigment Pro Pencil in the Perfect Brown. I have really been enjoying this. So I don't really talk about eyeliners much. I don't wear a ton of eyeliner. I did pick up this one and I wanted this shade in particular because I just thought brown is really flattering, especially on somebody who thinks black is a little bit too harsh. This is such a creamy liner. It goes on so easily and it stays put all day. It just looks so beautiful. The only thing is that there is this little brush on the end and it's supposed to be able to kind of wing out that liner, kind of blend it out a little bit, and I just don't feel like it does. I don't know if it's maybe just too flexible. I don't know, and it's not like I wait a long time so that the liner dries down. I'll go in right after and I just don't find it tends to work for me that way, but overall the quality of the liner itself is so good that it doesn't really bother me. But yeah, I really do like this liner. I do want to try the lighter brown one as well. I also tried a couple primers. I tried the LYS Secure Skin Gripping Serum Primer with 5% niacinamide. I didn't hate this primer. I'm definitely going to use it up. But the thing is it's so liquidy. It actually just seems like water coming out of the tube. It comes out so fast, so it's too easy to get too much product. The shape of the bottle is really unique and pretty, but I just find it's way too easy to get way too much product. It is a squeeze tube, but because it's so liquidy, I feel like it just kind of pours out. And again, it's like the consistency of almost water. It feels nice on the skin. I'm just not sure if I don't really know yet if it really elongates the wear of my makeup, but I really don't like the consistency because it's just too messy. That's where I land on that one. Okay, I also really wanted to try out the Rare Beauty Pore Diffusing Primer, and this one I like. I like this one. This one reminds me a little bit of the Smashbox Photo Finish. Not quite as intense and as thick as that one, but it's got a similar sort of consistency. It's definitely more liquidy. It's definitely a thinner consistency, but there's something about it I just really like. I love that it comes in a pump. I do have the mini version. I find it really does a really nice job just kind of blurring out imperfections. I really like that. So I'm really glad I did pick this one up. This one was definitely a win. I've really been enjoying it. Okay, the last primer I tried out is the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer. This one's been around for a while. This is not new. However, everybody says they love this one. I don't know if I got a bad one, but I don't like this. I've tried rubbing it into the skin. I've tried just literally patting and pushing it into the skin. Regardless of what I do, it pills up the product. Even when I give it time to set before I go in with foundation, it still does that. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Perhaps I did get a bad one. I don't know, but this just does not work for me. It was kind of a big waste. I'm glad I grabbed a mini instead of a full size. I also tried out the Kosas Air Brow, the clear brow gel. I like this a lot. So I kind of heard mixed reviews about this one when it first came out because it's supposed to give like a laminated brow effect. It doesn't. It definitely doesn't give you that laminated brow thing, but if you're like me and you like your brows to just kind of stay in place, if you want to shape them and then just have them stay there, you might like this. This does enough for me. So the whole laminated brow thing is definitely not to my taste. So I like my brows, you know, maybe very 2016, but just structured, stay in place. That's all I want, and that's all I need from a brow gel. The NYX Brow Glue, for example, is super intense, and you can definitely get the laminated effect with that one. This is definitely way lighter, but it is strong enough to just keep your brows in place. So that's what I like. I love it. I'm definitely gonna really enjoy using this one. Okay, I can't remember if I talked about this one in my February reviews or not. I don't think I did, but this is the next product is the Vesca Soft Matte Bronzing Powder, and this is Kissed by Rio. So again, I've really just been kind of dabbling in the Vesca products. This one has a very similar scent to the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. It smells like coconut, tropical, vacation. It smells so good. I love it. And I really love the tone of this one. It's beautiful for a fair skin tone. This blends out so easily, so nicely. I'm kind of sad that it took me so long to play with this one, but I've definitely really been loving it, and I'm glad I picked this one up. I can't wait to try more products from Vesca. I tried the bronzer so far, the highlighter. I love them both. Okay, I also tried out the LYS Triple Fix Full Coverage Brightening Concealer. I like this. I like this quite a bit, actually. I picked up the shade LG3, which I think is actually a little darker than I should have, but I like this. The one thing I will say is that I do not think it's full coverage. I definitely think it's more of a medium coverage. It's a very thin consistency, as opposed to a lot of my heavier concealers, like my One Size, and I don't mind that though. It's perfect for a lighter makeup day if I'm not trying to be full glam. It's perfect for that. It does a beautiful job. It blends out very easily. It stays looking nice all day long. It never looks heavy or creasy or cakey, so this is a really beautiful formula. My one thing that I really don't like about this is the applicator. To get it out is fine. It's kind of got this curved tip. To get it out is fine, but putting it back in, the wand is really flexible, and it's so difficult to get back in there, and I'm terrified I'm gonna break it and then waste this whole thing of concealer. So that's the one thing I don't like, and I also don't love that they say it's a full coverage concealer, because it's really not. But overall, this is a really nice product. I've really enjoyed this concealer, and I was definitely testing it out pretty much all month long, so this is a nice one. So I tried more than 2 palettes this month, but only 2 that I tried enough to form an opinion on. So the first one we'll talk about is the Viseart Paris Love Letter palette. So I mentioned earlier in my new makeup haul that I just really want to try to incorporate more Viseart into my collection. I've really enjoy their formulas, and this is beautiful. This is definitely a very light palette. You're not going to get a ton of depth with this one. You're not going to get super punchy pigment payoff, but this is such a beautiful shade, such a beautiful little palette for every single day, and you can mix in these pops of color if you want to, but this is just such a wearable everyday palette. Especially if you're around my skin tone, these are just going to look really pretty, very wearable. So I've really been enjoying this one. It's a really beautiful option for spring. It's just a beautiful option in general. I just really like this one. And the palette I have really been testing this month is the Natasha Denona Pastel palette. So this one I think is beautiful. It's what I have on today, and I've really been trying to gather my thoughts on this one. It's definitely very pretty. It's definitely outside my comfort zone. It's definitely unique, I guess. So I do find the color story layout to be a little bit chaotic, and as somebody who has a hard time kind of looking at a palette sometimes and visualizing what I want to do, I do find it a little harder to work with than a lot of my other palettes. That being said, you can always rearrange this one if you have the same kind of mind. I don't like to do that just because I'm on YouTube, I want to talk about it, and I don't want anyone to get confused. I do think this is a pretty palette. For me, the safest way to use this one when I'm not sure what to do is I just stick to the monochromes, and that seems to work pretty well. The one thing is that I honestly love her cream to powder formula. I do find that even the cream to powders in this one though are pretty light, so you do want to use a pretty bright base like the ABH eye primer is a really great one for this. Even my MAC Paint Pot I find did a really nice job, but I did find that even that the mattes in here are they're definitely very light. The cream to powders are beautiful, but again, they're also quite light, and a lot of these shades do require a lot of building. I will say the more metallic-y shades like Mint Frost, Starlit, Dainty, they're all more of her true metallics, and I find that they're very beautiful and pigmented. I do feel like Natasha's duochromes kind of fall short. Duet is a beautiful, beautiful duochrome. Well, it's supposed to be a duochrome. I think it's beautiful. It's pink with kind of like a blue sparkle to it, and I think it's very pretty. I just don't think, it's not what I want out of a duochrome. It doesn't have that crazy shift. It's just a very light shift. So I definitely don't think duochromes are her strength, but I do think this palette's very beautiful, and it's definitely for, like, if you're a beginner with color, if you're a beginner with pastel shades, you might really enjoy this. And again, you can always rearrange it if the color story is just a little too chaotic. Overall, I really do like this. Is it one I reach for every single day? No. I've really got to be in the mood to play with color, and I have to have patience. So that's the one thing, just because I don't always know what to do. But overall, I really like this one. It's not my favorite of hers. It's also not my least favorite. So I really do like this one. And that is it for me today. Thank you so, so much for watching. I appreciate it so very much. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload at least 3 new videos every single week. And that's it for me today. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!